that I'm doing. This is showing how to use classes, structures, functions, and others. Right now I am showing the stretch that I did. It wasn't listed, but I just did it for fun, I guess. So I'm using VS Code to write the code for the IDE. I've also used Eclipse previously, but I'm just using VS Code currently. So let me go ahead and compile it with G++ or GCC. The command for it in Linux, and the terminal is just G++. And then GUI.cpp. I'm using the GTK header file, so that's why I'm running with a little bit extra command. I'm just letting the compiler know that it has some extra header files there. So it compiles, it looks like it ran okay. And then if I run ada out, this is the GUI app that I ran. And so this is a pop-up GUI app. I can close it like that. I can use the exit button. So I haven't really dove too deep into it, but I think it was pretty exceptional. And then for the project, this is where I just show and display all of the variables, expressions, conditionals, loops, functions, and classes, and even the data structure, which I chose to use vector. So if we go ahead and run that, we get the expression. So here's where I define a class, a struct, or I guess it wasn't required to have a struct. I don't think I have one actually. Either way, this is a class. Here's a global variable, the function declarations, my functions, and then here's my main function, where here's some of my expressions. So you see them here, my conditionals, you know, if the variables that I distinguished here, it'll display one or the other depending, or if statements, and then wrong. So right now we're in typing in your number, so I'll put, this is a switch case, so I'll put 2 and then display number 2. We have our loops. We're looping through 0 to 10, or 0 to B, I suppose. That's really what it is. And then we have a do while, so I could show you that I know how to use a while and a do while. So it's just do this, and then it'll keep doing it. It'll at least run once, is basically what the do while is. And now we're into functions. It's asking what the float is, so we can say 20.2, that's a float. And then the math divide is just dividing the 2 and returns a float. As you can see, we have, it's a float function. And now it's saying enter a number in, doesn't matter what value, you're always going to get 20. So if we look at this, we're actually printing out, we actually put it in age, and we are still using age. We put in 90, but we still got 20. So I use pointers. I put in the address of it, of the variable, and then I pointed to the memory address and changed it to 20. So the value is always going to be 20 no matter what. Now with classes, I created an animal class, and I created a dog. This is what type of dog is that. I'll say lab. The age is 21. If you go back up to it, it'll display now the 2. And then this is the global variable. I just had it equal to 0. So to show that you can use global variables with a list, and also with the types, and you can point to it. So I feel like there's something else there, but oh yeah. So you can put functions inside of the classes that have private or public variables. So the dog years is private, so you can't use it unless it's inside the class, and so I use that to times it by the age to get the dog year. So That's why it's what it is. Next is vectors. Vectors have their own header file, I believe. Yep. And they have their own functionalities. So here, this is kind of how you add the vectors and display them. You can resize it. You can get the max size. You can assign it, and then that's why we have the different vectors. And I printed out what I was doing so you could see in the next, right after, you could see what the function was doing. And here's one of the stretches listed. Was reading from a file and just writing to a file. So we can see that I'm writing. So just to show that it's writing to this file and reading to it, we could do like a bunch of these hyphens, and then when we recompile, you'll see that it's going to be different. So, and this is just displaying the line number, so you can show that it reads and writes to the file. We go to the file, and they're all changed. So yeah, this is C++ module.